Listener, have you ever had this thought? Um, Everyone comes to me when they're hurting or in need, but who do I go to when it's my turn to fall apart? Because like you're the helper, you're the steady one, you're the wise, calm, reliable friend. But beneath that role, there's this loneliness, and there's like a quiet question of, does anyone actually notice when I'm not okay? Well, today we're diving into that invisible pain and how to find friendships that see you, not just what you can give, but actually truly see you. So, um, we're going to talk about why this conversation matters in just a moment. But first, welcome back. I appreciate you spending the next few minutes a little later in this recording today. This episode, again, is going to be one of those vulnerable ones, which is okay, because we deserve to make space for this weariness that we're carrying. And as always, I just want to remind you, I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who's learned through trial, through error, and heartache that even the strongest ones amongst us, we too also need to be held as well, don't we? The friendships that sustain us are the ones that are, in my perspective, rooted in two key pillars. Number one, integrity, where we're living out the truth of what we need, not just presenting an image of being fine, right? And the second pillar, which is so critical, is it's intimacy, or the invitation in intimacy, even when we're vulnerable, messy, or too tired. Because real friendship, it doesn't just lean on you. It leans with you, right? So let's talk a little bit about how you became the helper, and why it's exhausting, right? And how we may have gotten locked into this role as well. Oftentimes, I would say it's because we learned very early that love was earned through being useful, right? When you're useful, you're appreciated. And if you're the responsible one growing up, care might have felt conditional, right? And being needed felt far safer than being seen. Like helping others gives a sense of value, but it also kept the spotlight off of your own needs, didn't it? It could also be like your natural display of empathy became part of your identity, right? And you're genuinely just good at being there for people, but somewhere along the way, it stopped being a gift, and it started feeling a lot more like an expectation. So listener, just pause. If you're relating with any of these, don't forget to take a breath just to ground yourself, and then consider, where did you learn that your worth was tied to being the one who never needed anything? Or who taught you that being strong meant never letting yourself be vulnerable? Because naming the roots really matters. Like, when we understand the pattern, we can begin to step out of this pattern that has not been serving us, right? Because the emotional cost of always being the strong friend, it carries a weight, right? Carrying everyone else's emotions eventually comes with a price. I mean, you start to feel isolated, even when you're surrounded by people, like we were talking about in yesterday's episode, right? You minimize your struggles because you're used to being the steady one, right? You start to resent the very friendships that you used to feel honored to support. And you wonder if anyone would notice or care if you stopped showing up. This is where integrity calls us back to our center. Integrity asks us things like, am I showing up in friendship as my full self, or just as the version that feels safe and needed, right? And intimacy you might find whispering something like, you're allowed to be known for more than what you give. Listener, you deserve friendships that aren't just built on your usefulness. You also deserve to be held and not just needed. So here's some considerations on how to start shifting this dynamic. If you recognize yourself in these patterns that I've been describing, here's some ways to begin creating change in your experience. Firstly, notice where you're over-functioning. When do you jump in to fix or advise or to manage, even before you're asked? Because awareness is really the first step in this, right? Secondly, practice receiving in small ways. So say yes when someone offers help, right? Let someone carry a piece of your story, even if it feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Thirdly, name your own needs without apologizing. Try saying something like, I'm realizing I've been carrying a lot lately, and I could really use a listening ear. Are you available for that? Fourthly, recalibrate your friendships in a gentle way. If there are certain friendships that only flow one way, consider stepping back slightly, not to punish, but just to notice who chooses to meet you where you're at. Fifthly, build patterns of mutual care in your friendships. Look for and nurture friendships where support flows in both directions, where asking isn't seen as burdensome, but a sense of belonging, right? I hope you find those helpful. Because listener, if you're tired of being the one who's always strong, like all the time, if you're the one who's aching to be seen, not just leaned on, let me remind you, you're not selfish. You're not failing. Again, you're human. When that's a beautiful expression. We're not made to be perfect. And humans are wired for reciprocal care. So we deserve friendships that honor our full humanity, like your strengths and your softness, right? Your giving and your needing as well, like your light and your loneliness. In our next episode, I want to explore when your standards for friendship begin to change or shift, and old connections no longer seem to fit because growth often means adjusting not just who you are, but also who you're connected to and how you're connected. But if our conversation, this episode today, touched something within, let me encourage you to give yourself time to sit with it, reflect. Let it affirm what you've quietly known, that you, my dear listener, also deserve to be cared for and held and appreciated. And as always, as you're reflecting, go gently, my dear listener. Be kind to yourself because you're doing much better than you think. See you in the next episode.